The cafeteria was noisy, full of students from every corner of the galaxy. Aliens of different shapes and colors sat together, eating strange food from strange planets. And in the middle of it all sat Josh, a human boy, quietly eating his fries. Josh didn't talk much. He had only come to the Galactic Peace Academy 2 weeks ago. It was the first school where humans and aliens studied together. Most of the other human students stayed in their own groups. They were scared or just didn't care. Josh was different. He noticed things, and today he noticed her. She was sitting alone behind a glass barrier at the edge of the cafeteria. The fence looked like a cage. No one went near her. Her table was small, her food untouched. Her skin was light blue, glowing slightly under the cafeteria lights. Her silver white hair was messy, like it hadn't been brushed in days. She had big, golden eyes that looked lost and wild. Josh leaned over and whispered to the cleaning droid. Nearby, "Who's that girl?" The droid beeped and answered in a soft voice. Subject: Zara. Species: unknown, dangerous. Under observation, do not approach. Josh blinked. Dangerous. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. She looked scared. Then something strange happened. Their eyes met. Zara stared at him, not in a normal way, not like how others looked at him. Her eyes locked onto him like a predator spotting prey or maybe something else. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She just watched. Josh looked away quickly and went back to his fries. But after a minute, he looked again. She was still staring. After lunch, Josh couldn't stop thinking about her. The other students avoided her like she was some monster, but something felt wrong. She didn't act like a monster. She acted like a trapped animal. The next day, Josh sat at the same table, right across from the glass fence. Again, she was there. Again, she didn't eat. Again, her golden eyes found him. Josh tried something crazy. He held up one fry. She tilted her head. Curious, then he smiled and slowly walked to the barrier. A small gap in the bottom of the glass let food trays slide in and out. He knelt down and carefully pushed a fry through the slot. Zara didn't move. Go ahead, Josh whispered. It's good. Try it. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then she slowly reached forward with her delicate blue hand and took the fry. She sniffed it. Then, cautiously, she took a bite. Her eyes lit up. Josh laughed quietly. Told you. She looked up at him. And this time, she smiled just a little. But it was real. From that day on, Josh brought fries every lunch. He never spoke too much. He didn't want to scare her. But every time he gave her food, she came closer. Day by day, her eyes grew softer. Her skin glowed a bit brighter. One day, she pressed her hand against the glass. Josh hesitated, then pressed his hand to hers, separated by the barrier. They sat like that for a long time, just watching each other. The guards didn't stop him. Maybe they thought it was harmless. Maybe they were just curious too, but not everyone liked what they saw. Why do you feed that thing? A voice said behind Josh the next day. It was Marcus, one of the human seniors. Tall, mean, and always full of trouble. 3 other humans stood with him, laughing. She's not a thing, Josh said calmly. She's a person, Marcus sneered. She's a freak. That's why she's in a cage. Josh didn't reply. He just slid another fry through the gap to ZHAR. Marcus stepped closer. You think you're better than us, making friends with monsters. Zara's eyes narrowed. She placed her hand on the glass, right where Marcus stood. Her golden eyes flashed. Careful, Josh said quietly. She's watching. Marcus scoffed and walked away. But from that moment, the trouble began. That night, Josh heard footsteps. Outside his dorm room, he opened the door and no one was there. But someone had left a warning. A dead rat, covered in fry sauce. The message was clear. Stay away from the alien girl. But Josh didn't stop. He kept going to her table every day, feeding her, talking to her softly. She never spoke back, not with words. But her eyes said everything. Then, one afternoon, the power in the cafeteria went out. The lights flickered, the alarms blared, and the glass around Zara's cage shattered. Students screamed. Droids rushed in. Guards shouted, and in the middle of the chaos, Josh stood frozen. She was free. Zara stood there, breathing heavily. Her silver hair floated like it was alive. Energy crackled around her fingers. Her eyes were wild again, but not like before. She looked, angry. Marcus and his gang had pulled the emergency lever. They were laughing, pointing at her like she was a zoo animal let loose. One of them threw a tray at her big mistake. Zara moved so fast, no one saw her coming. In a blink, she was in front of Marcus, claws out, her face filled with rage. But before she struck Zara, Josh yelled. She froze. She turned to him slowly, shaking, her chest rising and falling fast. He stepped forward, carefully. "It's okay. I'm here." Zara looked at Marcus, then at Josh. She made a low growl in her throat. Then she ran not to attack but to him. She grabbed his arm and pulled him close, wrapping herself around him protectively. Her glowing body lit up the dark cafeteria. She hissed at the guards like a wild animal defending her. Cub dot, nobody moved. Josh stood there. Stunned, the alien girl, this quiet, strange, dangerous creature wasn't trying to escape. She was protecting him. The guards raised their weapons. Josh shouted, "No, don't shoot." Zara growled louder, her whole body glowing now. She bared, her fangs holding Josh behind her like a shield. But Josh saw it differently. She wasn't hiding behind him. She was defending him. "Please," Josh begged. "She didn't hurt anyone. Don't hurt her." The head security droid hesitated. Zara slowly lowered her claws. Her golden eyes locked with Josh's. She stepped back and let go. And just like that, she'll let the guards cuff her again. But before they took her away, she looked back at Josh. There was no fear in her eyes anymore, only trust. They took Zara away. Josh stood frozen in the middle of the cafeteria, surrounded by broken glass, spilled food, and shocked students. His heart was still racing. The image of Zara protecting him like a wild creature guarding her only friend was burned into his mind. The guards didn't say a word as they dragged her through the back hallway. She didn't fight them. She didn't scream. She just kept her golden eyes on Josh until she disappeared behind the door. And then, silence. That night, Josh couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her glowing skin, her protective stance. The way she growled at the guards like a lioness. She had saved him. She didn't know why they were attacking, but she didn't care. She only knew one thing: he gave her kindness, so she gave him everything. But now, she was gone. Locked up somewhere deeper than before. Maybe even punished. Maybe worse, Josh had to do something. The next morning, the academy halls were buzzing. Did you see her claws? She moved faster than the cameras. I heard she can control electricity with her mind. Josh kept his head low and didn't say anything. Most students were scared. Some even said Zara should be destroyed. Others thought she was a government weapon gone wrong. Josh knew the truth. She was lonely, and someone hurt her. When lunch came, Josh went to her table, but it was empty. The barrier was repaired. The small tray slot was sealed shut. No one sat near it. Even the cleaning droids stayed away. Josh sat there anyway. He placed a small box of fries on the table, just in case. That evening, he snuck into the lower floor of the academy, a place most students weren't allowed. It wasn't easy. Security droids floated through the halls. Locked doors required special badges. But Josh had learned a few tricks from watching other students. He knew how to move quietly. He knew where cameras didn't look. And he had one goal: find Zara, deep. Underground, the air was colder. The lights were dim, and the walls were metal. Strange sounds echoed through the vents like machines breathing. Then he found it. Holding cell Z-9, a red warning light blinked outside the door. 2 heavy droids stood guard. Josh crouched behind a crate and waited. Then he heard something faint, but clear, a whisper. Josh, he froze. It was her voice, Zara's voice. She had never spoken before. Not a word. But now, through the thick metal, she was calling him. He stood slowly. Zara, can you hear me? No answer. But then a soft hum started. The light above the door flickered. The guards suddenly powered down, their glowing eyes dimming. Josh held his breath. The door opened by itself. Inside, the room was dark except for a soft blue glow. She was there, sitting in the corner, chained by strange energy cuffs. Her silver hair covered part of her face. She looked up and smiled. You came, she said quietly. Her voice was soft, gentle, and strange. Like music, Josh stepped forward, stunned. You can talk. Zara nodded. Only to you. Why? Atatu gave me food. Atatu. You didn't look at me like I was a monster. Josh knelt beside her. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? She looked down. No, not yet. But they will. Josh's hands balled into fists. Why are they keeping you here? What are they hiding? Zara looked at the door, then back at him. Her golden eyes glowed brighter. I was not supposed to survive, she said. I'm a weapon they couldn't control. I escaped. I hid. Then they found me. They call it a school, but it's a test site. They want to see if I can be tamed, if I can live with others, if I can obey. Josh's mouth went dry. That's why you were behind the glass. She nodded slowly. Yes, I failed the first test. I broke things, hurt people who tried to touch me. But you were different. Josh reached for her hand. The energy cuffs sparked. He winced. Don't, she said softly. They'll shock you too. He looked at the cuffs. Can I get you out? Zara stared into his eyes. If you try, they will call me dangerous. They will hurt you, or worse. Josh sat beside her anyway. I don't care. You protected me. Now it's my turn. Suddenly, alarms blared. The droids outside powered back on. A robotic voice echoed. Unauthorized presence detected. Lockdown. Initiated. Zara's eyes widened. They're coming. You have to go. I won't leave you. You must. She stood quickly, her energy rising. The cuff sparked again, but she didn't flinch. Her hair floated again. Her skin glowed. Brighter, the room filled with light. Run, she shouted. I'll hold them. Josh hesitated, then finally nodded. I'll come back, I swear. He turned and sprinted down the hall just as the door slammed shut behind him. Later that night, Josh was taken in by the academy headmaster, a tall, gray-skinned alien named Director Varn, who rarely spoke to students. Varn stared at Josh with cold black eyes. You broke into a secure zone. You risked your life. Why? Josh met his gaze. Because Zara is not a monster. She's scared. She needs help, not chains. Varn didn't blink. Do you know what she is? I don't care. You should. Varn said quietly. Because your kindness may have awakened something very old inside her, something we can't control. Josh's heart pounded. You're afraid of her? Varn leaned forward. We are afraid of what she becomes when she trusts someone. Josh was confused. What does that mean? The director didn't answer. He only said, you are banned from seeing her. One more step near that wing and you'll be expelled. Or worse. Josh walked out in silence, but his mind was racing. That night, he looked up at the stars through his dorm window. He had questions now. Big questions. Why was Zara created? What powers were they trying to suppress? What did the director mean by what she becomes? But most importantly, what was Zara becoming because of him? Somewhere deep in the academy, in her dark cell, Zara stared at the ceiling. Her hands were still glowing. Her mind whispered a word she had never used before. Friend. The school days passed slowly. Josh sat in class, stared at his tablet, and nodded when teachers asked questions, but his heart wasn't there. His mind was locked underground, behind the steel door of holding cell Z9. Where Zara was being kept like a dangerous creature, he couldn't stop thinking about her glowing skin, her eyes, the way she spoke his name, and he couldn't stop. Hearing what the director said, what she becomes. When she trusts someone, what did that even mean? Josh tried to stay away, just like they told him. The warning was clear. One more step near Zara, and he would be thrown out of the academy. But every time he passed a vent, he thought he heard her voice. Every time a light flickered in the hallway, he wondered if it was her power reaching out to him. And every day, he left a small box of fries on the table across from the sealed barrier's old table. No one ever touched it, until one day, it was gone. Josh blinked. He had only turned around for a second. When he looked back, fries were gone. He looked around. No one had walked by. No droids had cleaned the table. His chest tightened. Was it her? Later that night, Josh checked his bag before going to sleep. He gasped. Inside was a folded piece of metal, shaped like a fry. It shimmered in gold, glowing faintly. Zara had sent him a message. She was still there. That night, Josh had a dream. He saw Zara standing on top of the academy building, surrounded by lightning. Her eyes were glowing like suns. The sky was dark, clouds spinning in a strange circle above her. Students and teachers ran below, screaming. Droids fired at her. None of them hit. And then she looked at him, straight at him. Her voice echoed across the dreamscape. They lied to you, Josh. I'm not the only one. He woke up in sweat. The next morning, Josh went to the library. Not to study, but to dig. He searched secret files, hidden history logs, and old academy news. At first, everything looked clean. But deep in the archives, he found a file labeled Project Z Prototype 3 of 7. His hands shook as he opened it. It wasn't just about ZHA. It was about others. There had been 7 prototypes, created in a secret lab. Bioweapons, hybrid beings. Part machine, part alien, part something else. Prototype 1, destroyed after malfunction. Prototype 2, escaped, never found. Prototype 3, Zara contained. Dangerous but calm when exposed to human interaction. Prototypes 4 to 7, status unknown. Josh leaned back in his chair. Zara wasn't alone. She was one of 7, and the academy had been hiding this from everyone. That evening, Josh couldn't stay away. He went back to the underground hallway. This time, he didn't sneak. He walked straight toward the guards, but they weren't there. The hallway was empty. The door to Zara's cell was open. Cautiously, he stepped inside. It was dark but not silent. A soft humming sound filled the room. Then he saw her. She wasn't in chains. She was floating. Zara's feet were off the ground. Her eyes closed, hair rising slowly like wind was blowing around her. Energy moved through the air like waves of light. "Zara." Josh whispered, her eyes opened instantly. Golden and glowing. She looked stronger, brighter, different. She floated down gently, landing without a sound. "You came," she said softly. Josh stepped forward. "What's happening to you?" "I'm remembering," she said. "The things they erased. The things they didn't want me to know." Josh's eyes narrowed, like the others. She nodded. "I wasn't the first, but I might be the last." The others. They were too strong, too angry. They couldn't be controlled. "And you?" Josh asked. Chara looked at him with something new in her eyes. "I learned something they didn't expect." "What?" Her voice was soft. "Kindness. Trust. It changed me." She held out her hand. Josh took it. A warm energy pulsed between. Then she said, "But now they're afraid. Because I'm no longer broken. I'm becoming complete." Suddenly, a loud alarm rang. Red lights flashed. Zara's cell door slammed shut behind Josh. Droids surrounded them 10. Maybe more. And behind them stood Director Varn, his face cold as ever. "I warned you, human," he said. "You were told to stay away." Josh stood in front of Zara. "You lied to everyone. She's not a threat. You made her this way." Varn stepped forward. "You don't understand. She's not a girl. She's not a student. She's a weapon. A prototype designed to protect Earth by destroying everything else until she was defective." "I'm not defective," Zara growled, stepping beside. Josh, the director, raised his hand. "Then let's see what you are." The droids opened fire. Blue energy blasts shot toward them. Zara moved like lightning. She didn't even blink. She raised one hand and created a glowing wall of energy that stopped every shot mid-air. Then, with a whisper, she sent the blasts back. Not to hurt, but to disarm. The droids crashed to the floor, fried. Zara's glow dimmed. She was breathing hard, but still standing. Josh grabbed her hand. "We have to get out of here," Zara nodded. "There's a secret exit. I remember." Now, they ran. Through tunnels and dark halls, they moved fast. Alarms screamed above. Varn's voice echoed through speakers. "Attention, Subject 3 has escaped containment. Use maximum force." Zara looked at Josh. "You're still with me." "Of course," he said. "You saved me. Now it's my turn." They reached a blast door at the end of a long hall. Zara placed her hand on the panel. It opened, and the two of them stepped into the night air for the first time. Together, stars shone above, wind blew across their faces. Freedom, but they both knew this was just the beginning. The forest outside the Galactic Peace Academy was silent and dark. No lights, no guards, no cameras. Just trees that reached the stars and wind that whispered like a warning. Josh and Zara ran without speaking. Their feet crunched over dead leaves. Zara moved fast, most too fast, but she always slowed to stay beside him. Her glowing skin faded in and out, like her body was hiding her light on purpose. They were free, but not safe. They stopped, near a fallen tree. Josh dropped to the ground, breathing hard. Zara crouched beside him, barely out of breath. "You okay?" she asked. Josh nodded. "Yeah. Just not used to running for my life." Zara tilted her head. "You are not afraid." He looked at her. "I'm terrified, but I'd rather be terrified with you than safe in a cage." Zara looked away, a soft glow rising on her cheeks. "You keep saying things that confuse me." Josh smiled. "That's called being human." Suddenly, her eyes went sharp. She stood up quickly. "What is it?" Josh asked. She looked at the trees. Drones. 3 of them. Fast, quiet, but not quiet enough. Josh stood. Can we outrun them? Zara shook her head. No, but I can stop them. She stepped forward, raised her hand, and the air crackled. Blue sparks flew from her fingers. Josh ducked with a single sharp gesture. Zara pointed to the sky. Boom! One drone exploded mid-air. The second and third swerved. Scanning quickly, Zara grabbed Josh's hand. Run now. They darted between trees. Branches scratched their clothes. Roots tripped their feet. Behind them, the forest lit up with flashing red lights and metal wings. Josh shouted, "Do you?" "Have a plan," Zara replied. "Yes. Don't die." After 30 minutes of running and dodging, they slid down a steep hill and landed near a small stream. They were wet, tired, and muddy. But alive, Josh groaned. "Please tell me the drones can't swim." Zara grinned. "They can, but I've fried their eyes. They're blind now." Josh collapsed against a tree. That's something. He looked at her, truly looked. She was glowing again, dim but steady. Her silver-white hair hung over her shoulders. Her eyes sparkled in the moonlight. She didn't look like a weapon. She looked like hope. They stayed by the stream that night. Josh built a small fire with sticks and stones. Zara sat beside him, watching the flames like they were magic. Josh handed her a protein bar from his emergency bag. "It's not fries, but it's food." She took it and sniffed. "Smells like old metal." "Yeah, tastes like it too." She took a bite and made a face. Then she smiled. "I still like fries better." Josh laughed. Later, as the fire crackled and the stars danced above, Josh asked, "Where do we go now?" Zara was silent for a moment. Then she said, "There's a signal tower not far from here. Hidden in the mountains. I remember it now. If we reach it, I can send a call." "A call to who?" "Not who," she said. "What?" Josh frowned. "You lost me." Zara looked at him seriously. "When I escaped the lab the first time, I sent out a pulse. It was weak, but one of the others heard it." Josh sat up straighter. "One of the other prototypes." She nodded. "Prototype 2. I don't know where they are, but if I send a stronger signal, maybe they'll come." Josh rubbed his face. "Do we really want another one of you showing up?" Zara tilted her head. "That depends. Do you trust me?" He looked at her, soft, glowing skin, bright eyes, gentle voice, and the memory of her standing in front of him, claws out, ready to fight for him. "Yes," he said. "I do." Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, in the wreckage of a forgotten warship drifting near a red sun, something moved. A figure stood inside a cracked chamber. Wires and smoke all around. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her hair was black like space. Her skin shimmered like metal, and her eyes glowed red. She stared at the stars. A soft whisper echoed in her mind. "Zara." The figure opened her mouth. Her voice was cold and sharp. "I heard you, little sister." She stepped out of the shadows. Prototype 2 was awake back on the planet. Josh and Zara climbed toward the mountain tower. The forest thinned. The air grew colder. The wind howled like it wanted them gone. But Zara walked with purpose now. Every few minutes, she paused, scanned the air, then kept going. Josh asked, "You sure this tower's real?" Zara nodded. "They built it to contact the lab during emergencies. I was never supposed to know about it. But some memories came back after you touched me." Josh raised an eyebrow. "Wait, what?" Zara looked at him seriously. "When you touched me, something unlocked. I don't know what, but your kindness did more than just help me. It changed me. It woke me up." Josh felt something strange in his chest. A feeling too big for words. He just said, "I'm glad." Finally, they reached the top. The tower was hidden behind a rock wall, camouflaged to look like part of the mountain. Zara walked straight to a control panel and placed her hand on it. The rock shimmered, then vanished, revealing a metal door. Josh stepped inside behind her. "This place is real." Zara nodded. "And now, we make the call." She walked to a control screen and started tapping strange symbols. The machine hummed to life. Lights blinked. Satellites spun. Josh watched. How long will it take? Seconds. And what happens next? Zara didn't answer right away. Then she said, "We prepare. Because if they come, we won't be running anymore." Josh nodded. He stepped beside her, placed a hand on the console, and smiled. "Then let's stop running." The signal tower buzzed with energy. Strange lights blinked. A low hum shook the floor. Zara stood at the control panel, her hand glowing softly where it touched the screen. The message had been sent. Now, they waited. Josh looked out the narrow window at the night sky. It was clear, peaceful, too peaceful. "I don't like this," he said. "It's too quiet." Zara stepped beside him. "The others like quiet. It hides them." Josh looked at her. "You think she got the signal?" Zara nodded. "She heard it." "I can feel it." Josh raised an eyebrow. "You can feel her." "I was connected to the others. We were born in the same place, built from the same energy." "Built," Josh repeated. "You mean you weren't born like normal?" Zara shook her head. "No, I was created, engineered, grown in tanks, programmed to protect, then thrown away when I didn't obey." Josh felt anger rise in his chest. "They treated you like a tool, not like a person." She looked at him softly. "You're the first one who saw me as more." Suddenly, the tower lights turned red. The control screen flashed. Incoming signal. Unknown origin. Zara's eyes widened. "She's here." Josh ran to the window. Above the mountains, the clouds split open, ripped apart by something massive and dark. A ship, shaped like a claw, floated silently toward the tower.
It didn't."
Roar? It didn't shake. It just glided through the air like a shadow across water. Then it stopped above them. A beam of white light shot down beside the tower, and a figure stepped out. She was taller than Zara, sleek, sharp. Her skin was dark silver. Her eyes glowed red. Her movements were graceful, silent, deadly. Zara stepped outside to meet her. Josh followed. Heart pounding, the two alien girls stood in front of each other, silent, still, like a mirror. But opposite. Then the new one spoke. Her voice was calm but cold. "Zara, little sister." Zara nodded. "Prototype 2, Josh whispered. She really came. The new one's red eyes turned to Josh. "You are the human." Josh took a step back. "Yes," Zara said quickly. "He helped me. He woke me." Prototype 2 tilted her head. "Strange, I received your signal. I thought you were in danger. But now, I see something else." She stepped closer to Josh. He didn't move. "You smell like kindness," she said, "but also fear." Josh replied, "Only an idiot wouldn't be afraid of you right now." She smiled slightly. "Smart. I like that." Then she looked back at Zara. "Why did you call me?" Zara answered, "Because the Academy is hunting me. Because I need to know the truth about us. About what we really are." Prototype 2 stared at her, then nodded once. "I will tell you. But you may not like what you hear." Inside the tower, Prototype 2 sat on a metal crate. Zara and Josh listened as she told the story. "We were never meant to learn emotions," she said. "We were made to fight, to obey. But each of us grew differently. Some of us became unstable. One went mad and destroyed an entire moon. Station. Josh's eyes widened. And you? I learned to survive. I escaped before they wiped my memory. I've lived in the dark, watching from the shadows, waiting. Waiting for what? Josh asked. For the one who would change everything. The one they feared. She turned to Zara. They feared you the most. Zara blinked. Me? Yes. Because you felt too much. Even in the lab, you showed mercy. You refused to attack during training. You hesitated. They called it weakness. But it wasn't weakness, Josh said. It was being human. Prototype 2 smiled again, just barely. Maybe, but now the Academy knows she's active. They won't stop, and they'll come with everything they have. Josh stood, then we stopped them. Zara looked at him. You're serious? Yes. I'm done running. Prototype 2 stood too. You'll need help. My ship has weapons, shields, cloaking. It's old, but strong. Josh looked at both of them. Then let's hit them first. Zara reached out and took his hand. I'll fight, she said, but not for revenge, for freedom. That night, they planned. Zara and Prototype to map out the Academy's weak points. Josh helped draw the layout. They would sneak in, reach the core data center, and expose everything: the labs, the lies, the experiments. They would tell the galaxy what was really happening behind the Academy's smiling walls. And if they had to fight, they were ready. But they didn't know the Academy was already moving, back in the school. Director Varn stood before a row of soldiers in black armor. Atisa eyes burned with rage. They called her back, he said. Prototype 2 has joined. This is no longer a containment mission. He turned to the head of security. Activate Project Null. The officer froze. But sir, Project Null is untested. It's still unstable. Then let's test it on them, Varn said coldly. Send the Null Hunter. Far below the Academy, in a glass tank filled with black liquid. Something opened its eyes. They weren't gold. They weren't red. They were pure white. The next morning, Zara stood with Zara and Prototype 2 on the cliff above the Academy. The sun was rising. Zara looked peaceful but focused. Josh said, You sure we're ready? Zara smiled. No, but we're not alone anymore. She looked at Prototype 2, and then at him. You gave me fries. But more than that, you gave me something I didn't even know I needed. Josh asked, What? Purpose. And then, far behind them, the mountain shook. A strange wind blew past their faces. Prototype 2 turned quickly, her eyes narrowing. He's here. Who? Josh asked. Zara's face went pale. Project Null. A tome. The mountain trembled. Birds flew from trees. Dust fell from the rocks. Even the sky seemed to hold its breath. Josh stood close to Zara. His hand brushed hers. She grabbed it tightly. Prototype 2 stared into the distance, her glowing red eyes sharp. He's coming. Who? Josh asked again. Zara answered quietly. Project Null. The one they never finished. The one that can erase us all. They ran. Through the forest, down the cliffs, heading toward the Academy's lower levels. If they could reach the data center, they could expose everything. But the ground kept shaking behind them closer. Heavier. Josh looked back and saw it. At first, just a shadow. Then, a shape. A tall black figure stepped through the trees. It didn't walk, it glided like smoke wrapped in armor. Its face had no eyes, no mouth. Just white glowing lines, like a cracked mask. The trees near it wilted. Birds fell silent. The air froze. Josh whispered, What is that? Prototype 2 replied coldly, It doesn't feel. It doesn't stop. It hunts. Until nothing is left. Suddenly, it moved. faster than sound. 1 second, it was far behind. The next it was in front of them. Josh froze in place, heart pounding. Then it punched her hard. She flew through 2 trees and didn't get up. "Two!" Zara cried out. Josh grabbed her arm. "We have to run." "No," Zara said. "Not this time." She stepped forward. Her skin began to glow brighter than ever. Gold light wrapped around her body. Her hair floated like she was underwater. Sparks danced between her fingers. The hunter raised its arm again. Josh screamed. "Zara!" She didn't listen. With a burst of pure light, she launched herself at the hunter. Her punch lit the whole forest. Boom! The shockwave knocked Josh back. Leaves flew. Trees cracked. The hunter stumbled just a little, but it was enough. Zara landed on her feet, panting. Josh ran to her. "Are you okay?" She nodded slowly. It felt that one. Behind them, the hunter straightened its neck. No emotion. No sound. It was adapting. "Zhar," a whispered. "It's learning me." Suddenly, a beam of black energy shot toward Josh. Zara screamed and jumped in front of him. The beam struck her shoulder. She dropped to one knee, glowing less. Josh grabbed her. "Zara." She looked at him with pain in her eyes. "I can't beat it," she whispered. "Not alone." Then Prototype 2 limped back, bleeding silver from her arm. "You're not alone," she said. The 2 sisters stood side by side now. Their glows pulsed together, gold and red. Josh backed away, knowing what was coming. And then they unleashed everything. The sky turned white. Lightning cracked across the forest. Both prototypes attacked at once, moving like lightning, striking from both sides. The hunter blocked, hit, countered, but this time it struggled. Josh watched. Eyes wide, he saw the future in front of him. Not war, not destruction, but power used to protect. And it all started with fries. Then the hunter made a mistake. It turned toward Josh. Just one glance, and that was enough. Zara screamed. Not with fear, but with rage. Her glow exploded. Her voice echoed across the valley. "You do not touch him." Her power surged. Wings of golden energy shot from her back. Her fists burned like stars, and she tore into the hunter, slamming it through the trees. Through the mountain wall, everything went silent. Smoke filled the air. Josh ran toward the crater. There, in the rubble, lay the hunter's body, broken, still. Char stood over it, glowing gently, her body trembling. "I didn't kill it," she said. "I stopped it. For now." Josh hugged her tightly. "You saved me again," he whispered. Zara didn't answer, but her hand touched his back softly, and that was enough. Later, inside the broken tower, Prototype 2 sat beside them. "We can't stay here. The Academy. We'll send more." Josh nodded. "Then let's send the message. The real one." They hacked the tower's uplink. Zhara sent out everything, the truth about the prototypes, the lab experiments, the Academy's lies, to every news channel, every space station, every human and alien world. And then they ran again, but this time they weren't just running. They were moving forward, together. Josh, Jara, and Prototype 2, the strange new family. The Academy had called them monsters, but thanks to one small act of kindness, they had become something stronger. The message spread faster than anyone expected, across planets, stations, cities in orbit. The truth was out. Footage of the Academy's secret lab, the experiments, the pain, and most important, the moment Zara stood between Josh and a monster that was never supposed to lose. People saw her golden glow. They heard Josh's voice saying, "She's not a weapon. She's my friend." And that message burned through the lies like fire. Governments denied it at first. Then came the protests, then investigations, then fear. The Academy shut down half of its systems within a week. By the end of the second, the director had vanished. The galaxy had seen the truth, and they had chosen her. But Zara didn't stay to enjoy the fame. She didn't want medals or interviews. She just wanted peace. Josh, Zara, and prototype Tuhu now called herself Raya hid deep in the outer colonies, a small moon with no name. Far from war, far from cities. Zara's powers were quiet now, but every night, the sky would glow softly when she smiled. Josh helped build their little home. Nothing fancy. Just a shelter, a garden, and a satellite dish that only worked sometimes. One morning, he brought her a cup of hot tea. Zara held it like treasure. It still feels strange. What? Josh asked. To wake up and not be hunted. He smiled. You deserve it. Raya walked in, holding a damaged drone. This one tried to follow our signal again. She said Josh stood. Academy. Raya shook her head. No, someone else. A week later, they got the call. A human warship arrived in orbit, but no weapons were aimed. A single shuttle landed. From it stepped a woman in a dark blue uniform. Hands raised, no guns. I'm Commander Lean. I speak for the United Human Worlds. Josh. Zara and Raya stood side by side. The commander looked at Zara first. You could destroy us if you wanted to. She said softly. But you didn't. Why? Zara looked at Josh, then back to the woman. Because someone gave me fries when I had nothing. The commander smiled gently. We want to talk, not fight. Zara raised one eyebrow. Talk about what? About protection, peace, and maybe hope. Months passed. Zara became a name known in every world, but not as a weapon, as a hero. Kids drew pictures of her. Alien artists made statues. Songs were written, but she never left her quiet home, unless it was important. She only stepped out when someone was in danger, when someone was alone, when someone was like she once was. Josh sat beside her one night, watching the stars. Zara leaned her head on his shoulder. They still look at me like I'm a goddess. You kind of are, Josh joked. She smiled. Do you think I'm scary? He shook his head. No, I think you're strong, kind, and weirdly obsessed with French fries. She giggled an actual giggle, rare and soft. Then she whispered, I would still defend you, you know, even if the whole galaxy turned on me. I know, Josh said. Then he looked at her and added, and I'd still give you my last fry. Raya stood nearby, watching them. She smiled to herself, then turned and walked into the trees. She had missions, now helping other lost ones like them, but she always came back. Because this wasn't just a hideout, it was home. Final scene years later, a small alien girl got lost on a trade planet. Scared, crying, alone. A group of soldiers pointed guns at her, calling her dangerous. Suddenly, a shadow landed in front of her, glowing gold wings spread wide. Zara stood tall, no weapons, just light. The soldiers froze. She looked at them and said, You will not touch her. The soldiers backed away. Zara lifted the small alien into her arms. She smiled gently. Let's get you some food. The little girl nodded, eyes wide. Fries? She asked shyly. Chara laughed. Of course. And somewhere, far above, a signal played through the stars. One small act of kindness can change the universe. The end.